Hey guys, it's Shani Alexandrina here, and I'm back with another video. You read that title right. Today we're going to be doing locks, do's, and don'ts. If you're new here, my real name is Chantal, but everyone calls me Shani. That's what I go by. I have been locked for about 2 years now. 2 years and a few months. I'd say 2 years and almost 3 years. So maybe 2 years and like 10 months. Not too long at all. That's not a long time. It does feel like I've been locked all my life because it's just, the time is just flying by. I'm so used to them. Today we're going to be talking about the do's and don'ts with locks, things that I didn't really know, or things that I do know or I did know but that you shouldn't be doing and that you should actually be doing. There is someone out there who does not know, someone who has locks or someone who's looking to have locks. You clicked on this video for a reason. Everything that I'm saying is based off of research, my own experience. I'm not a loctician. I get advice from a loctician and I also get advice from doing research. This is just advice. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So I just feel like it's right if we start with the don'ts to kind of get it out the way, knock it out one time. You know, we want to take the bad news before we get to the good news. My first don't is you really don't want to be styling your hair too much, especially in the beginning. Because when you're styling them constantly, it can change the shape of your lock. It can also just be a lot of pulling overall. You don't want to be pulling too much because the root can be very sensitive. The more you pull, they'll start to break. And also just over styling your hair, like I said, can change like the shape of it, the appearance of how it actually looks. So you want to make sure that you're not styling it like every single day, unless, you know, you got some strong hair that could just handle it. But I style my hair not every single day, but I do style it often because I do go to work, and I just, like, when I go out, I don't like to just wear my hair down sometimes. So I do style it maybe every other day or every 2 days, but definitely not every single day. And if I do style it, it's not a style that's super tight on my scalp. You can always tell when something is just a little too tight. So you just really want to be cautious, especially if you have starter locks. Be very careful with that. You don't want to be using greases, thick greases and wax in your lock. That is really bad because it can cause buildup. And if you do detox your locks, when you do that, you're going to see all of that buildup come out. It's like, why go through all that when you could just avoid it altogether? So let's try not to use any like super thick greases in our actual locks. You can grease your scalp if you want. Like, I know people prefer to grease their scalp. Like, sometimes I personally like to grease my scalp sometimes, but just the scalp. I'm not going in and putting it in my lock. You're asking for problems at that point. So don't be adding grease to your locks. No, this one is very important. Try your best not to style your locks while they're dry, because who wants to do dry styling when you have your loose natural hair? You don't really want, you don't want to have it just dry. You want to put a little water on there and then style it. When you're styling your locks, make sure you spray it with some water first. You don't have to get it super wet, just get it a little bit damp, and then you go ahead and style it. And it's just a lot easier, and it's a lot more comfortable when your hair is a little damp compared to if it's just dry. You can feel the difference. So I mean, this one's kind of common knowledge, but if you didn't know, it's okay, because some people don't know. Definitely want to make sure you're wetting your hair first before you go ahead and style it, and that just helps protect your hair from any breakage or just excess pulling. You don't want to be doing that. So yeah, no dry styling. And along with that, you also want to avoid washing your hair too soon after starting your lock. So I know this one is kind of like preference. Me personally, I would wait about a month before I actually washed my hair. I think when I first locked my hair, I waited a whole month before I actually washed it. Maybe a month and a few weeks. You know, some people wait like 6 months. Some people wait a year. I wouldn't wait a year personally. That's just not me. That's not me. I like to have my hair clean. I would say don't wash it any sooner than 4 weeks after you first locked your hair, because it can unravel and you don't want to deal with all of that. Just leave it alone. Let it do its thing. Wash it after a month. Should be good to go. And when you're washing it as well, just a little tip, put like, I think it's rubber bands on each one to kind of hold the lock in place so that while you're washing it, it won't unravel. Make sure you're not just going crazy, especially if you have a finer hair texture. It'd be a lot harder to keep that lock form. Maybe if you have a more softer, less coarse texture of hair, maybe wait 2 months before you lock it. You know what I mean? Personal preference. This one's key. This one is key, and I actually caught myself doing this as well. So you don't know it all sometimes. You don't want to pull off the little buds at the end of your locks. I pulled one off today. How ironic is that? And I'm telling you guys not to do it. Yeah, I caught myself pulling off the little bud at the end today. Don't do that. You do not want to do that, because that's actually your lock forming, right? That's the ends kind of forming. Locks are trying to form. So it's like a little bit of a, like, I don't know. This is kind of hard to show, but there's usually a piece that would be hanging from the end. It would be bigger than that. And it's kind of like a ball. leave it. Don't pull it off. It could be tempting, but just leave it, let it do its thing. You'll thank me later. That will actually start to happen a lot more frequent as your locks start to mature. So if you have starter locks, you're gonna notice that coming in within the next few months. You'll see a lot of the budding at the end. It's completely normal. It's supposed to happen, and it's encouraging the lock to form. Yeah, if you don't have an urge like me, then you're good. But if you're anything like me and you just be urgent, feel like you just want to rip it off, don't it. This is the last don't on my list that I have. You don't want to oil your hair daily. Yes, I said it. Not every day. You don't want to be oiling your hair every single day. It can actually be an excess amount of oil. Your hair actually needs time to process, to soak that oil up before you go ahead and do it again. And it can also build so much buildup in the end if you're doing it constantly every single day. By the time you go to wash your hair, you can see all this oil coming out of your hair because it's full of buildup. It's full of oil. That's not what we want. I personally oil my hair. I've cut down a lot, but since I have colored hair, I kind of have to stay on top of my moisture, but it doesn't mean I have to do it every single day. So I will do it maybe twice a week. I oil my hair. I really get in there, actually get in there, not just a quick little, you know. So I'd say twice a week for me personally. You could maybe do your every 2 days, whatever works for you, as long as it's not every single day. Everyone's hair soaks up oil differently, so you just got to go by what works for you. But me personally, twice a week is good for right now. I do spray it every day still. That's one thing I won't stop spraying it every day. I know some people don't, but I'm gonna do that. So preference. Hey, so out with the old, in with the new, or as I should say, out with the bad, in with the good. So now we're going to talk about the good, the things you should be doing, the do's. Let's get into it. Okay, so my first do is moisturize the roots. You don't want to focus oil. I'm back to the don'ts, aren't I? It's okay. This is part of it. You do want to moisturize your root, and then whatever remainder you have left of oil that you're using, because you shouldn't be using anything other than like oils and stuff like that. You want to stay away from like products and mousses and all that stuff. No, we don't use that. We don't need that. But anyways, you do want to focus on the roots, and then whatever left over you have can just run through your locks, but you don't want to just focus it all on your locks, because like I said, that can cause buildup. So do make sure that you're starting from the root, you're oiling your root. Whatever remainder oil you have left, go ahead, put it on, you know, get it good, but you're not gonna overkill. Sometimes we tend to do a little too much. That's not needed, it's not necessary. So just focus more on the root than you are on your actual locks. And also, I personally am just learning this because if you've been watching my reels and like my TikToks and stuff, your girl's been putting some oil on her actual locks, right? But I recently learned this, that's not what we should be doing, because you're gonna be causing buildup over time. So yeah, let's focus on the root. The root is what's alive. This isn't alive anymore, so we're gonna focus on the root, and the root is what produces, right? So remember. Okay, so this next one, if you're anything like me and you like the upkeep of your hair, you like to make sure it's all not doing too much, organized, it's just looking right. You want to keep an eye out and make sure they're not marrying each other. You want to make sure your locks aren't marrying. You know what that means? It's like when they're attached by the roots and then they start to just attach to become one. You want to make sure that's not happening. So just keeping sure by just checking your scalp daily or weekly. Just pull it apart if it is, gently, so you're not breaking off your hair. And this is actually really important if you have starter locks. This is more likely to happen because they're starting to form. Your hair is just doing its thing, so they're most likely going to marry each other in the beginning stages versus now when they're already fully, you know, developed and whatnot. But it can happen, so just keep an eye out for it if you want to make sure they're not doing that, and then you have uneven locks and you don't want to go through all that. So yeah, just look out for marrying locks. This is probably, if you could take away anything from what I'm talking about, even though there were some pretty important ones, but if you can take away anything from what I'm saying, make sure you're wrapping your hair up every single night. Or if you have a satin bedspread, satin pillowcase, I think that should be fine. But you do want to make sure you're tying your hair down every single night. You don't want to go to bed with your hair out just like this. And I know it happens sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, I did this weekend. But that was the first time in a very, very, very long time. But I had no choice. I didn't have my headscarf and whatnot. So, but if you can, tie it up with a satin scarf, put on your bonnet, put it in there at nights, because that will help with lint collection. You don't want to collect lint in your locks. Also just dryness, moisture. Cotton can be very drying on your hair. This is, you don't have to do this one, but this is something I recommend personally because I know it's better. As I was just talking about how cotton can be drying, towels can be very drying. So I like to wrap my hair up with a t-shirt, and I find my hair isn't as stripped moisture compared to if I were to use a towel. You want to make sure you're using a t-shirt after you wash your hair. Just get a t-shirt, open it up, fold your head over, tie it up, wrap it up, good to go. I've been doing this since even when I was a loose natural. I've been doing this and it works great for me. Yeah, so if you can do that, just do that. Just use the old raggedy t-shirt that you have and dry your hair with it. Thank me later. And then this last one, honestly guys, enjoy the process. Do make sure you're enjoying the process. It's a beautiful experience, honestly, to have locks. It's something that I've always wanted to do since I was in high school, and I never did it because I was scared of how people would look at me, and I've spoken about this, and I thought I would be so ugly and all these things, and then I just did it. I did it after high school, but I did it, you know what I mean? So don't be discouraged about what other people have to say. Whatever people's opinions, it does not matter. As long as this is what you want and you're enjoying your process, you have to speak very positively about yourself. If you want your locks to grow healthy, the soul has to be in the same alignment. You have to be speaking positive things about yourself, positive affirmation, and just have that positive outlook on things. And I promise you, your hair will just sprout. It'll just grow, okay? So make sure you're enjoying the process, you're speaking positively about yourself, about your hair, you're embracing your hair. It took me a while to start embracing my hair. Beginning stages, if you look back on my other YouTube videos, I used to wear wigs, used to do braids. I still do braids, but only once a year. But I used to do all those things a lot more because I was not fully comfortable, you know, and that's okay because it takes a while to grow that confidence, but once you get it, you just feel so free. And honestly, locks are very freeing, and that's how I personally feel. I'm sure anyone else with locks can attest to that as well. Don't worry about the opinions, just focus on you, your locks, and how you want to be perceived, how you want to look. Just focus on all that. Your opinion is the only one that matters, so don't let other people's affect you. So guys, that wraps up the video. Feel free to leave a like, also comment down below, and also subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.